Hello everyone, it's Adam here. This is my 2024 R1250 GS Adventure. It's dirty because I've put some miles on it, but I wanted to give you like a ride on and kind of give you some thoughts on this thing. This is not a bike that looks looks new to most of you. You've all seen GSAs that are the 1250 variety. In fact, you've seen GSAs that are very close to this starting in 2013 or 14 with the liquid-cooled GSA. They haven't changed much. The frame is almost identical. There's a couple changes, since then, namely the motor and some tech, but not much has changed really. But I have owned an 09 GSA, a 17 GSA, an 18 GSA, and now this 24 GSA. And here's what I'll say. I expected to go from my 35,000 mile 2018 GSA, which is a 1200cc motor, liquid cooled, non-shift cam, to this 2024 GSA, which is the last. This is the last R1250 GSA you can buy. 2025 model year will be a 1300. And so what was it like to go from a 1200 to a 1250? And what experiences are unique? And first of all, one thing I found really interesting is the tightness of this bike is really, it could be that it's just that It could be that my bike is just so old that, I just needed a new bike. Things are tighter with the new bike. That could be it. It could be that the 1250 really is that much better. That much, better put together, assembled, built, whatever you want to say it. Things are just done a little differently. But I will say that I found this bike to be just more nimble. Even just balancing at low to no speed is easier on this bike compared to my 1200. I don't know if it's just like butt dyno, but it feels like it just balances much easier. I just feel like it's the weight doesn't feel any lower, so the center of gravity hasn't dropped, but just the ability to sit still and balance on the pegs has gotten easier. I don't really know why that is, but the overall kind of tightness of this, turning, handling, braking, really precise. It feels like it's a preciser motorcycle than the 1200, which was really surprising to me. I did not expect that to be the case. Power, wow, power. Again, same thing. The curb weight of this bike is actually about 5 or 10 pounds more than my 1200 GSA, and yet, and it only has like 5 or 8 more horsepower, 5 or 8 more torque. It's not that big of a difference, but the power through the entire power band, RPM band, is like more. I'm not going to open it up because we haven't warmed the engine up yet, and we're still in the break-in period. But it's still a boxer, so it still has that when you use the shift assist from first, second gear, it still bounces a little bit. So it's still, the shifts are smoother than my 1200 GSA, and which is really great. But the power level off the line, more torque, throughout the line, so 1,000 RPM, and at up to full wide open throttle, it gets up and goes much faster. If I'm trying to pass someone on the 1200 GS, I would be, doing 90 miles an hour. On this thing, I'm doing like 100 miles an hour, not even realizing. I'm like, oh, I'm doing 100 miles an hour. I should back off. It really is that much quicker to 100 than the 1200 was. Honestly, I can't even imagine what it would be like to go on 1300 GS or future GSA, because I didn't actually want more power. I spend most of my time either in a city or off-road. And so to have this thing be able to be so quick I don't need that much power. This isn't really a street bike for me. And so, despite what this video will have you believe, and so to have that thing, you know, it's not necessary power for me, but more power indeed. I don't even want to imagine what the lighter yet more powerful 1300 is going to feel like. I can't even begin to fathom what that's going to be like experiencing that. Electronically, everything's the same as my 2018. So this is auto leveling suspension, just like my 2018 did. You won't have that if you have a 2017 or older GS. They've changed, so this is heated grips and heated seat. And so the button here now pulls up a menu for heated handlebar or seat heating. So you have to basically pick your choice there. And you can't set it to a default. You can't say that button only does handlebar heating. It gives you both options, which is pretty stupid. But oh well. And for me in particular, I've taken the heated seat off, put on a sergeant seat, so I don't even have a heated seat on this bike, and so that function really doesn't do much for me, which is kind of, you know, just kind of silly. Other tech gizmos, so it has more riding modes. The inclusion of eco is there. You can also customize your riding modes from having, so like before with the plug installed under my seat, it would unlock Enduro Pro and Dynamic Pro, but it would mean that you couldn't then select Enduro or Dynamic. You had to only choose the Pro modes. Now, in the settings, you could choose Road, Rain, Eco, Dynamic, Dynamic Pro, Enduro, Enduro Pro. You know, pick your top 5, and which is really nice. You can have Dynamic and Dynamic Pro under your mode selector, which is great because I think Dynamic Pro like turns off most traction controls, or most of them, and you can leave it to dynamic only, which keeps, you know, which gives you more throttle, and keeps those nannies turned on. There are no other options here for this bike, so everything else is pretty much the same as it was on the 1200 GSA with TFT. So if you don't have a TFT, you'll get a TFT. If you do have a TFT, there are not many other changes to it that I could find through the menus. I'm still having phone Bluetooth connectivity issues with the mapping views. So I'll have a Garmin installed here next week, and it won't make a difference anymore. But if you had TFT issues with your 2018 GS, I can assure you your 2019 to 2024 GS with a shift cam motor will not be any better. It's just is what it is. What other differences we have? We have the SOS button. This is only a 2024 thing. You can lift this little item up. You can press that. It will call emergency services, aka 911. There's a speaker and a microphone on this bike, so you could be off the bike and it'll still dial emergency services. It does require a phone be paired to the bike. And so if you have the bike turned off and press the SOS, you'll need to wake the bike up and connect to Bluetooth on your phone. There is no cellular modem in this bike. If it detects a crash, it will also auto dial. You cannot disable that. You can cancel the call, but you can't disable that service. And so if you're off-road, be prepared to both turn the bike off after you drop it and cancel the SOS option that's going to be busy calling. Annoying, yes, but I really don't know what to tell you as far as, you know, I guess just don't buy a 2024 or newer if you don't want the SOS feature. I think Europe has had that since 2022. So this is new for the US to receive the SOS button. Nice to have, might help resale value. I kind of probably find it more annoying than anything else. The shift cam stuff, I don't really hear the shifty, the cams actually move over. I don't hear it. People said they can feel it. I've been on break-in modes. I haven't really tested, been too aggressive with it. I've gone right up the throttle a few times though, and I can tell you it's definitely has more power. Do I feel like I unlock that power? Not really. The buttons are still not backlit. Wish they were backlit. The heated hand grips, even though they're now 5 levels instead of 3, I don't feel like that level 5 is any stronger than it was on level 3 on my old bike. I imagine there's still a max voltage of these heated grips, and so you just have 5 different settings of max voltage, so you get a bit more nuance. But for me, it's 5 or 0. I don't really need to pick 1, 2, 3, or 4 on the heated hand grips, so 5 is whatever. They redesigned some stuff, you know, the louvers for the air intake are redesigned, slight difference in some of the fairing. I do on the 2023 and 2024 model year GSAs, you now have adaptive cornering suspension as well as leveling suspension. So if you're going over a hill or down a hill, or when you sit on the bike and the rear seat drops, your headlight will go up or down. I'll put a video up about it, specifically showing the lights. Cornering I had on my R18. It's nice. It's nice to have. It adds a little bit of a safety around corners. I don't believe that I see. I'll give you guys a little bit of a view here for things, for the speed issues here. So we're going to be in second gear. I mean, it feels faster. I don't know if it's just my butt dyno doing that, but this bike definitely feels quicker to me and a little scary, honestly, to ride around on. It's faster than it really should be, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it other than it is quicker. And I'm not that maneuver I just did. I would never do that. That's not the way I drive. I drive like an old man, and so. But this bike is fast, very, very fast. You will not be missing power. One common complaint of touring riders, they wish that the GSA either had a 7th gear or a higher 6th gear. I totally agree with that, actually. I think that you know, a taller 6th gear, like an overdrive gear, would be really, really nice. It would just make the RPMs a little bit lower when you're at 70 on the highway cruising. I agree with that. BMW should do that. I would even buy from you know, a gearing upgrade from like Recluse or something if I could, but oh well. Fog lights going from the 2018 GSA to the new Nano lights on the 2019 and newer. They're nicer. They're not as wide, but they are brighter straight on. So that's a nice upgrade improvement. But the hand guards, the mirrors, the throttle response, ergonomics of this bike are identical between the 1200 and 1250. I feel no different. Pannier racks are also the same. Seats are also the same except for the seated heat inclusion. The handlebars are now black on most of the models. Well, whatever. I've already scratched mine up from installing the ROX riser, so whatever. There is no more additional space under the seat pan or where the ECU is. Battery size is the same. Handling, like I said, it's improved, but it is the same rake and you know, wheelbase is unchanged. Instead of having a DIN, a powerlet DIN here, you now have a USB-A plug. I presume it'll be USB-C on the 1300 GSs. I don't know, but it's still USB-A, so I had to find a USB-A adapter for plugging in most of my devices. I've moved over to USB-C. I'll never use that plug though. It doesn't really make a difference to me, but some people like having the plug. Underneath the bike, you know, radiator guards are going to be redesigned, but the pegs, the shifter, the brake lever, those are all the same. Cylinder heads will require different guards, different crash bars. Those all need to, skid plates, those all need to be bought new. So if you have a 1200, you'll need to replace all that stuff with new stuff designed for the 1250. But a lot of your 1200 stuff will move over. If you have 1200 GSA panniers, they'll probably work with the 1250, as will like final drive guard, windscreens will work, tank decals will work, even most of your seat pants for aftermarket seats will work. Black Dog Cycle works, like luggage plates, those will all work. Pegs will work, all that good stuff. So you have a lot of stuff you can move forward if you want to the 1250. The overall, the last thing too I'll mention is that, and I don't have the stats of this yet, is that from what I saw on Fuelie.com, the 1250 motor is about 5 to 10% more efficient than 1200, and the tank size didn't change. So the 1300 GS and presumably the GSA, those tank sizes decreased. And I remember from the 11 for the 1200 oil-cooled GSA to the 1200 water-cooled GSA, the tank size decreased. And so what I like about this bike is you're getting the fuel efficiency of the 1250, with the fuel tank size of the 1200. And so you'll get a little bit longer range. I think I saw 350 miles per tank on this, where I would see like 324 on my 1200 GSA. And so it's nice to get the same size tank with a 10% increase or 5% increase in fuel economy of the 1250 motor. What else? What else? What else? Everything else feels so the same. I mean, it really does. I think the final drive was redesigned after the recall they had with the 1200s and the water ingress issues. The final drive is different on the inside. Outside, it's the same. The final drive on the 1250 requires high point G3 axle oil, whereas which is really freaking expensive, versus the 75-90 weight liquid moly or whatever axle oil you could use in the 1200 series GSs. So that's a new thing. Oil filter is a new part. Air filter, I think, is the same part. And you can still use the Jasso MA2 5W40 oil on the shift cam motor, but the oil capacity is also unchanged on 1250 versus 1200. Still requires 91 octane fuel or better. I think it's 89 octane or better. But riding it, other than what I had said about the tightness of this thing, the overall tightness, this is the same bike. I do hear, and I think it's the shift cam or the Euro 5 emissions, where it's running leaner, or it's cutting off fuel, like the fuel cutoff maybe is sharper. But I feel like if I am climbing the RPMs, so I'm increasing RPMs, not too fast, kind of a medium increase, and I stop increasing RPMs, so don't cut fuel, but just kind of let off the throttle about halfway, I'll hear a decel pop from the exhaust. The 1200 GSA never did that. I think it has to do with the fuel economy restrictions on this with Euro 5 or Euro 5.5. But I do hear some more crackles. I have an R1250 exhaust from Europe, which is a Euro 5 exhaust that just arrived. It's not the Acura you can get from Repzilla or BMW USA. It's the EU compliant Acura. I think it looks better. That was like 1,900 euros. I paid way less than that. But that's come in. I like the pops. I want louder pops, so I'll be removing the, I'll have to cut and remove the sound deadener from that. And so you'll get a few more pops, kind of like you would from like an Acura on a Golf R Mark 8 platform from Europe. Exhaust is redesigned on the bottom, but still the O2 sensors are in the same place, so they're before the cat. So if you install a silencer, you won't have any codes throw. Crash bars are redesigned. They're tighter to the body. I like the bike. I think the bike looks really, really good. The key looks the same too. I think the bike looks really, really good. I like how it looks. No complaints there. I think that with the increased power and the increased fuel economy, increased fuel economy, this will be a great bike for road trips. Being able to get 10% more fuel out of this thing, as long as you stay out of that shift cam zone of like 6,000+ RPMs, you'll actually get better fuel economy here. And if you're already in a 1200 GSA, just do it, because you're going to get all your accessories moved over. You're probably, like me, going to know how to work on the bike. You're going to get a screaming deal of buying the 1300 GSA. And you're going to get better fuel economy and longer mileage out of your tank. So I think this is the bike to buy, honestly. The only thing that I'll regret on a 1300 GSA is automatic raise lower for the windscreen, as well as hopefully an 11 or 12-inch TFT. The 1300 GSA will probably have those two upgrades, and so I'll regret not having those features. But this is a wonderful, excellent bike. If you love the 1200 GSA, wet-heads, this thing's fantastic. Just go buy one and save some money. I don't really have anything else to add, and honestly, I'm probably the last person on earth that's going to review a 1250 GSA. And so if you haven't, if this is the first review you're watching, thank you. But I don't really think I'm going to add much to your buying advice. You probably already bought one or decided on the 1300 GSA. That's all for this video. Thought it'd be helpful. Thought you'd enjoy it. If you like it, let me know. If you have any more questions about this bike, put them in the comments and I'll respond to them. I reply to every comment I get. I'm going to go to the store and get some food, but it was great to talk to you guys. Have a good day. I catch my video on the lighting. That video will be posted separately. Oh, no. I'll put it at the end of this one as like an bonus. I'll put the lighting video. Yeah, have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.